friends, my name is Megan and welcome to my 41st Flosstube episode. If you are new here, welcome. This is a channel that is mostly about cross stitch. However, I do like to share my other hobbies when I've worked on them, and today I do have a quick sewing project to share with you. And if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back and spending some time with me today. I appreciate all of you even more than you know. Today is Sunday. It is May the 14th, and it is a beautiful day here in Maryland. The sun is shining and the weather is in the 70s and it's just perfect out there, which means that my allergies are killing me. So if I get a little sneezy at any point during this video, I do apologize for that. I hope everybody has been doing well. Today is Mother's Day here in the United States, and I know that can be a complicated day for a lot of people, including myself. So I really do hope that you're having the best Sunday that's available to you. My day's been pretty good so far. Quentin and I watched a movie earlier. We watched American Werewolf in London, and then he hung out with me while I got all this stuff set up, so I feel like I won. At that point, when your 18-year-old will hang out with you while you set up for a floss tube, that feels pretty good. But yeah, everything's been going okay here. We're gearing up for graduation, which I can't believe is happening. And Aaron's good. He's upstairs with Cora. I will say a dog just walked by and Cora was freaking out, so I might have to pause this in a few minutes when they walk back the other way. Just be aware of that. I do try to cut out barking when I can. But Cora's good, cats are good, everybody's good. I have a lot of stuff to share with you today, so I do want to kind of get into it quickly. I've got the things that I stitched on, I've got progress on whips, I've got new starts, I've got smalls, I've got finishes, I've got big finishes, finish that I'm very, very excited about. I normally have what came in the mail, but this time I went across the country to Arizona and to a trip to the attic, and I have a lot to share from that trip. I also attended a digital retreat. I attended the Spring Fling retreat, which is put on by Dee of Dees 20 Stitches and Kari of Uncanny Kari. I attended that, and I've got what came in our box to share with you as well, and some other goodies along the way. So my table is full, and I think we should probably get started. So first of all, I'm going to share with you the sewing project that I did. I don't carry a purse, and so thinking about this trip to Arizona, I knew that there was going to be at least one day that we would be out doing things, and I also needed a way to like transport my stitching around wherever we were going. I wasn't sure exactly how that was all going to play out, so I decided to make myself a bag. I had these two quilt panels of these vintage birds. There's one side and the other. So I just made myself a simple little tote bag. It's a little wrinkled out of this. I added a little bit of fabric for a border. I ordered this strap off of Amazon, as well as this hardware. I lined it just with this plain tan, and I did put some big old pockets on the inside. I've actually made quite a few tote bags. Several years ago, we decided to, always have a reusable bag for the grocery store, and so I made quite a few like big quilted tote bags for that. So I kind of used that the way I did those and a couple other tutorials to make this, but I love it, and it worked perfectly for my trip, and I'm sure this will be my new stitching to go bag from now on. Love it. All right, I do have one fully finished object. Speaking of Kari of Uncanny Kari, I am a member of her Patreon, and I love it, and she gives us adorable patterns, and I stitched up one of them. This was, I think, from actually May of last year. On May the 1st, I stitched up her little maple. I used a little scrap of 40 count linen that I had in my stash, and I used the suggested DMC colors. I think I might have changed one that she suggests in the pattern, and I stitched it up, and I just put it in this little hoop with a little bit of ribbon and a little bit of felt on the back. But that was quick. As you'll see when I start sharing what else I've worked on. I worked on quite a few smalls. I was pretty stressed out leading up to going on my trip, to which now I'm like, oh, why are you making yourself so crazy? And so I started quite a few smalls, but I think I might have finished them all. So cute. I'm gonna hang that up upstairs. So the last time we talked, I was discussing with you about the monthly stitches that I work on. I've got 3 different monthly series that I have been rotating through. I have the Top Knot Moon series, Top Knot Stitcher Shop Moon series. I have the Little Stitchers 13 Moon series, and I also have From the Heart Needle Art by Wendy, her monthly Quaker series. And the last time I filmed, I was working on one of those Quakers, and I just was not, I don't know why, I just wasn't feeling it. And I said that I might give it a couple more days and see if I could kind of get into a groove with it. And when I cleaned up from that video, I put that project directly away. I did not work on it for a few more days. And I just kind of gave myself like the freedom to not work on things that I'm not feeling and I don't want to work on right now. Not because I don't love the projects, it's just, you know, I've been working on them pretty consistently for over a year now, and I was ready for a little break. So I did pull out one of them. I pulled out the Top Knot Stitcher Monthly Moons, and I stitched the October Hunter Moon. I have a picture here of what it looked like. I stitched all of these on 32 count charcoal Lugana using the called for DMC. And they live in this little celestial project bag I made. It's got some bright yellow on the inside. And here is October's moon. So we're almost there. 2 more. And this one will be done. Here are the other months I have finished so far. So we're getting there. Just this past week, I did pull out my 13 moons, the Little Stitcher 13 moons, and I started one of them, but I didn't even finish the border on it, so I didn't bring it out. I'm sure by the next time I film, that one will be done. But it was nice, like I said, to kind of give myself a little break, and I just brought other random smalls that I was working on for my lunchtime stitching, and that's been really nice. So I'm just going to continue to do that for now. So that's where I am with my monthly stitches. This next project has been giving me a little bit of grief, and I'm not really sure what to do about it. Please excuse this sad crumpled working copy. This next project I'm going to share is Blackbird Design Sunflower House. This is my working copy. The original, which is a borrowed chart, is upstairs, safely tucked away. This project lives in this little floral and plaid project bag that I made, and I'm stitching it using all of the called for colors. These here, and I'm using a piece of 36 count, I think it's granite, by Zweigart. And here's where I am. And I love this fabric, and I love the flosses on it, and I think all of that is looking great, but what I am not loving is my stitching. Oop, hang on. Okay, I think we're okay now. I told you that dog was gonna come back. Anyways, I don't know what it is. I don't like the way my stitches are looking on this fabric in this combination. I'm not gonna pull it in too close because I'm kind of embarrassed. I don't know if I should just pull out the areas I don't like. The other night I was trying to work on it, and I was like, I might just throw this whole thing away, which is not something that I would normally do. So I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to give it a little break. I know that my friend that I borrowed it from is in no big hurry to get it back, so she's okay that it's taken me some time to work on this, but we will see where this ends up. It might just sit in timeout for a little bit. This next project will be a new start since the last time I saw you, and this project is Girls by Kathy Barrick. This says, girls, do not cook or scrub or scour until you have no time to plant a tree or vine or flower. And if you've been with me for a while, you may remember that I have actually stitched something very similar to this before. There is a Good Housewife chart, the little sampler, that has the same little verse on it. Both of those projects have been living in this beautiful Diana It Is Kismet bag. And okay, I don't know, does anybody else like tell themselves little stories about their cross stitch? I don't know if this is just me, but I initially had stitched the first one. I got it as a little kit off of Stash Unloading. It came with this fabric and the floss and the chart, and so this was, yeah, this was the original one that I stitched. And I had the other half of the fabric, and I was like, oh, well, these have the same sayings on them, maybe I'll stitch them, you know, both on the same fabric. So in my mind, you know, a woman had stitched this, and then years later her granddaughter found it and wanted to stitch it for her own self but make it hers. Is that silly? I don't know. That's what I told myself about these two patterns. Anyways, this is my finish. Kathy Barrick's version of Girls. This was a lot of fun. This was nice, easy, stress-free stitching. So I'm glad to have the two of them completed. I love that little bird right there. Cute. So when I was leaving for Arizona, I wanted to have something that I could stitch on in the airport, on an airplane. My travel day to get to Arizona was long. I was up at 4, we had to leave by 5 to get to the airport by 6. I traveled all day, you know, with the time change, it was a lot. So I knew I needed something that was going to be easy on my mind and on my eyes to work on. And the project that I picked was one of the Chesapeake Bay Treasures. This is number 2 by Amanda May at Ardith Design, and this is Blue Heron. So I've finished 2 of them already. I did the Blue Crab and the Tundra Swans. And so this was the next one that I had purchased, and I've actually got the last 2 over here. And I show you what I've bought. But that's what it looks like. These little kits come with the floss, the hand-dyed Ada that she dyes herself, and the backing fabric and other little accoutrements. I kept all of these actually in this little project bag I also bought from Amanda May. How cute. This was the floss that came with it. This was Silks for You PR035. As you can see here, I've only got a little bit left. Oh, and like I said, it came with this is the backing fabric, this little charm here, and here's my finish. So I started it on my way to Arizona, and I didn't finish it until after I got home, but I worked on it on my way there and just a little bit on the way back. Cute. So this will also become a little pillow, and it'll go over on my Chesapeake Bay wall back there. Sweet. The other project that I took with me on the plane was something that I had just started throughout getting ready to leave on this trip, and it was this little Prairie Schooler, I guess it's a little freebie chart. I don't think it has a name. I had this kitted up from last year's Dark October and hadn't gotten to it, so I pulled it out. I stitched this on a piece of 28 count, something that I had dyed a while ago, and I used the called for DMC. So I worked on this on my way home, which was a very interesting flight. My flight home, which was only 4 hours, which was good, there was like 2 or 3 middle school classes on the plane with us. Several of the children, I guess maybe it was their first time flying or maybe only their second time flying, and there was a lot of squealing on the flight. So I was glad for my headphones and for this little project. Cute. The next project I have to share with you is something that I actually started while I was in Arizona, And that is SA Steamer Trunk by Teresa Vanette. It is out of this Winter 2022 Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. And awkward. This is the project. I purchased this as a kit from Teresa, and the kit came with the trunk, the fabric, and all of the flosses. So I did use the called for 36 count Vintage Country Mocha for this, along with the called for colors. And I started this in Arizona and finished it up, I guess, the following weekend after I got home. And here it is. Very cute. It's got a little bit of 1/1 and a little bit of, I don't think in the chart it called for 4-sided stitch for these big initials, but in the picture it was 4-sided stitch, so I did that. And there's all the instructions on how to finish it. I've got the little box here that it goes in. So once I figure that out, that should be cute. I think my struggle is how to build up the bottom. I think she said she used 6 layers of foam core to build this up high enough so that this would kind of sit on top. But I just need to think on that a little bit more. So here it is. Very cute. I'm glad to be getting some of these smaller projects out of my bins. This next project is another new start since last time I saw you, and this is Quaker Gardens by Hello from Liz Matthews. I love, love, love this. I love Quakers, I love blue. This is perfect. I love this. I do think that I will not be stitching this bottom border, but we'll see when I get down there how I feel. This lives in this cute little Blackbird project bag, and I'm stitching it on a piece of 32 count copper by Lakeside Linen using HDF silk in Mystery 101, which is this beautiful blue. And I'm really enjoying this. Normally I would do 2/2 on 32 count, but with how tightly this linen is dyed and how nice this silk is, I'm only doing 1/2. And here's where I got. I'm loving this. So before my trip, I had finished the first page, and then I worked on this a little bit in Arizona. I brought this border over and did this part of the alphabet and the bottom border. And this is a little tight margin wise, but I think it'll be okay. I'm able to stitch this one in hand because it's 1/2, and I'm the framer, so that's fine. I love, love, love this blue on this copper color. Love it. Next thing I pulled out was my Stitch for Pride piece. I am doing Dees 20 Stitches. They put out a whole year of Stitch for Pride, and there's learning things, there's action items, and then once you do all of those other things, then there's a stitching prompt at the end for each month. So I believe the stitching prompt for April was to pull out what your project, maybe with the most colors, or the most colorful project that you have. And I don't know if this project is the most colorful, but it felt like it was the right one to pull out. And that is the 2020 Pandemic Sampler by Starcy Girl. This is a terrible black and white picture. But I'm stitching this in all of the called for DMC, and as you can see, there's quite a few colors in it. And I'm stitching this on 36 count linen, My Little Dove by XU Design, and I got a page finish, which put me officially at halfway done, which feels great. This is this project has a lot of stitching in it. I think the border the border has a ton of stitching in these two big houses, but that's okay because I think this is turning out beautifully. So this page here is the one that I completed, and that feels great. I felt like I was kind of slogging like kind of slowly on this one a little bit, and so getting that page finished felt really great. And by the end, I was feeling super motivated. I was like stitching as fast as I could because I knew what project I had planned to pull out next in May, and I knew I was going to be finishing that project, and I did. So I'll show you that next, but here is my pandemic sampler. Beautiful. I love this. So the next project I was pulling out, I was so excited, is my Blackened Sky by the Permanent Needle. This is again another sad working copy. The original will be headed back home this week. So this project, I made this my focus piece for this year. I pulled it out every other month to finish it, and I thought that that worked really well for me. I wasn't working on it so much that I was getting burnt out, and I was looking forward to it every other month when it was its time. So I think I'm going to try that with more projects. I'm going to pull out, I think, my next oldest sampler next month and try to do the every other month with that and see if it helps me get it done quicker. So anyways, Blackened Sky, the Permanent Needle. This project lived in this sweet Janet Jabber bag that I absolutely love. I stitched it on 36 count Old Brown by XG Design, and I picked all of my own colors, and there was a lot of colors. This bag, which looks wild, is basically all the colors that I chose from to make this project. I didn't use all of these colors, but this was the palette that I had, more or less. Now, I did do some modifications to this project. I ended up personalizing it to make it a morning sampler for my parents. And here is my finish. She's big. Clearly, she's very big. Bring you in closer so you can see. So, on this tombstone, I put the years that my parents passed away. And then they were both born in 1956, so I changed the date on the bottom to reflect that. I wish that this linen could be captured properly. I tried to take pictures for Instagram, and it did not look right, and just what I'm seeing in the viewfinder here doesn't look right. It's really like almost like a bluey gray with some brown on it. But here it is. This feels amazing to have done. I loved stitching it. I have just had it like hanging up like on some clips up in my craft room so that I can look at it. I'm thinking about taking this to my Michael's to have it framed. My friend Anne, who is a prolific stitcher, she gets her things framed at Michael's, the Michael's near us, and they do a beautiful, beautiful job. So there's that. I still can't believe that one's done. Wow. So after I finished that, I had a little bit of a finish hangover. I didn't really know what to do next, know what to work on next, because that just felt like big. So I started some gift stitching that I needed to get working on. I'm doing a swap with Heather. Link is my homeboy. She's doing a lunar swap, and I joined that, and I started my project for that, which I won't be able to share my progress for that on here because my partner knows who I am. And then I also started a small for a retreat that I'm going on in July, and but I've only put in a couple of stitches on a border, so it was not worth bringing. I also pulled out my sampler that I wanted to focus on for the month of May, and that is Miss Lucy Calcutt 1825 by Just Stitching Along. And the last time I worked on this, I did not enjoy it very much. I think that, excuse me, my nose is itchy. I think I was working on it in the wrong season. There's a lot of pinks and stuff in this pattern, and I wasn't feeling it, but I'm hoping that this time it's gonna go better. So this project lives in this delicious threads bag that I love. Lucy Calcutt 1826 also lives in this bag. I'm stitching it with all of the called for DMC on a piece of 25 count fabric. I think it's an even weave fabric, maybe a Lugana, that I dyed myself, and I have it in the Q-snap because I'm working on it right now. And I've just been like picking away at this a little bit here and there, trying to get my groove. And here's where we are. So I'm working on this third page here, and she's very, very pretty. I love the way that she's looking. I love her one over one. She's so dainty, but I do not love stitching that border. And I think that's kind of got me stalled a little bit. Normally when I am stitching a piece with a border, I make myself do the border first, and then I do the fun stuff on the inside. And this time I'm trying to just do like a little bit of the border and then some of the inside, a little bit of the border and some of the inside. So I'm hoping that'll motivate me to get going on this piece. So we'll see how far I get. If I can just get this page done, and it was already partially done, but if I can just get this page done, I'm gonna feel really, really happy about that. So, and this is one of the nice pages where like the bottom of this motif ends at the bottom of the page, so I don't have to like flip around and try to figure out what goes where. So there is Miss Lucy Calcutt. Beautiful. And that is everything, excuse me, that I've worked on since I saw you last. I do want to show this little thing that I got. These are all of the DMC colors that I'm using for that page right now for Lucy Calcutt. This comes from Modern Hoopla, and it's this wooden piece, and you can just put your bobbins right in. It's got a little magnet right here, and I've been popping my scissors on there, and it's kind of been sitting up on the edge of the couch, which I think is actually really improving my stitching experience with this project, because I don't have to kind of dig around for my DMC. Also from that company, I got this little hoop holder. So it holds a hoop like this. Looks like that. I do have some hoops around my house, but some of them have swear words crossed on them, so I didn't bring them to share. But this is really cool. I thought that was really neat. I like the finish on it. So Modern Hoopla is the shop that those came from. Okay. So what have I purchased? Where have I been? What's been going on since I was here? First, I will show you my color and cotton fabric of the month. This was May's, and this is 36 count tumbleweed, which is really pretty. And I hadn't actually taken this out of the package until I went to iron it for this video, and I didn't realize there was going to be, this is like pink in here. I don't know, it's a pretty color. So, getting ready for my trip to Arizona was a lot for me. It had been a long time since I had traveled anywhere. And even going back to like pre-COVID times, it was very difficult for me to leave my house a lot of times. So this being my first my first real venture out, post-COVID times, I was pretty anxious. I hadn't flown in many years. I was convinced that I was just gonna be stopped by security. I like watched videos on packing carry-on suitcases, so I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. It was pretty crazy, but we got through it. And I will say that now that I have done that and I've gone somewhere, you know, like away, like I got on a plane and I went somewhere, I feel like I want to go everywhere. It was great for, I think, for my mental health to get out and go somewhere. It was also, the whole trip was great for my mental health, let's be real. But yeah, that was a lot, but it was really, really, really good, and I'm really, really, really glad that I did it. So knowing that I was going on this trip, and not knowing what, like where we would be stitching and what the lighting would be. I did get a little daylight light when I went to Hodgepodge in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, had a stitch day, and one of the wonderful ladies that was at my table had this little light, and it just fits right in here, and it's rechargeable, and it pops up, and I used it while I was on my trip, and it was wonderful. I really, really highly recommend. This is the Daylight Foldy Go, I believe, is the light. So that was great. And speaking of great, several of the ladies that I went on this trip with, they were amazing. I had only met Emily C of Eclectic Possessions in person before, and so I was pretty nervous about meeting everybody. I'll be putting some pictures in as I'm talking, so you can see our whole amazing group of people. And I will say that we got there, we went straight to the attic, and like we walked in and everybody was like there with open arms to hug us and to introduce themselves, and immediately, like kind of from the get-go, it was just like, you know, I don't often feel very comfortable meeting new people. A lot of times my anxiety will make it so I can't participate in conversation or share the things I want to share, and I felt so comfortable with everybody right from the get-go. So that was an incredible experience for me. So like I said, everybody was great. Just okay. Sorry, there was another dog and chaos has ensued, and I'm not fully sure what I was exactly saying when I had to stop this video a few moments ago, but I believe I was saying how wonderful everybody that I met in Arizona was. Brenda and Laura are just the kindest people. Everybody was so kind and so thoughtful and caring, and it was really, really, really amazing. And some of the wonderful people that I was there with brought a couple of goodies for each of us, and that was also really amazing. From Justine at JustQuiltyStuff, we got these two little clips for bags, some little zipper pulls, and speaking of bags, she also gave us each a little bag, and they were all a little bit different, and oh my god, these are so nice. So nice. I can't wait to find something to put in there, but I know that on there I'm going to be putting this cute little zipper pull from Roseanne. It says Red Fection. Not sure if all those letters are going the right way. Everybody loves their red samplers. Now, you know, I'm more of a blue sampler girl, but I did pick out one red sampler to stitch while we were at the attic, kind of in memory of this trip. So I will be sure to use this on that bag with that project. Speaking of red, Katie Strachan gave us these beautiful flosses to use. Gorgeous. Susan Standley of Stitch in Time, she gave us these little floss drops. I think we were all in love with this very serious lady. I mean, that's how I look when I'm stitching too. And she also gave us these beautiful linen threads. Sorry, guys. They came in this sweet little bag. Grace, the Paisley stitcher, whose stitching is phenomenal. There was some show and tell that happened that was unbelievable. Katie Strachan brought her casket, and seeing that in person is like, how can this be real? How can somebody make this with their own hands? It's just, wow. Wow. Susan Stanley brought two of her quilts, and they were just perfection. Lisa, Kindred Stitcher, brought some of her stitching, as did Grace, the Paisley Stitcher, and it's just it's just unbelievable the amount of talent that was in that room. I was like, why am I here? I shouldn't be here with these people. But Grace, she got us these little floss tags and also these cute little pins. Oh my gosh, look at those. Oh, cute. I love them. And then Jean at the attic when we got there on Thursday. So some people got there on Wednesday, and me and Olivia B and Emily C and Lisa Smith, we all got there on Thursday. And it just happened that all of our flights kind of came in at the same time, which was perfect. We were able to share an Uber over to the attic, and Jean had lunch ready for us. She had pizza for us, and also she had a little gift for each of us, and it was one of these little bags. How sweet. This would be perfect for my blue samplers. The attic is everything that people say it is and more. It is overwhelming how beautiful the models are. It was like you could look and look and look, and then you were still like, you couldn't see it all. There was so many beautiful things to look at. So I actually went there with a list, and I got a few things off of that list, but mostly I got things that were not on my list. Things I didn't even know I needed. So my first order of business was I wanted to find some fabric for the Birds of a Feather seasonal girls. I would like to try to get these started this year, and I wanted to find a fabric that would work for all of them. They are big. I really wanted to stitch them on 36 count, but they require a fat half of 36 count, and I didn't want to buy 2 yards of fabric for them. So I was perusing the fabric, and Justine was over there with me, and we ended up picking out this 38 count Legacy in Cloister Cream, which it's hard to tell. I'm filming later than normal, so I'm not sure what my lighting situation is going to be. And my camera here, it kind of looks like white to me, but it's not. It's just a beautiful creamy, almost like a light natural color. So I think that'll be a perfect background for that. I got 2 big pieces, and I hope I can fit them on these 2 pieces. Fingers crossed. Another item on my list was I wanted to get some silks for this project. This is my Smoky Mountain Stitches in Woodall 1847, and I showed her in my last video, and I'm stitching her all in DMC, but the grass, they suggested in the chart to do the grass in silk to really make it shine. So I pulled the called for silks, and they did not match the DMC that I was using, so I went back through and I found 4 of the colors in silk to go with that grassy area. But there is one color, which is the darkest color, that I couldn't find anything at all that I liked. So I need to, we'll see how this plays out. If I don't end up using them for this, then it'll be fine, and I'll use them for something else. No big deal. And so I love that pattern. I love that deer, and I guess I'm entering like a deer era in my life, because the other thing that was on my list, and I knew so important to me that I found, was this. This is Ellen Harrison 1889. So I have a microfiber cloth of this pattern that has been hanging at my desk. Let's see, I've been at this job for 1.5 years. It was at my desk at my job before then, and I have looked at it every day, dreaming of this pattern. I don't know why I had not yet bought this pattern. I guess it was meant to be that I would buy it here. So this takes me a little side journey here. We got to go to Vicky of Needlework Press's studio at her home, and she graciously allowed us to tour her space, and she walked us through and talked to us about her samplers. There was more than I could imagine. It was unbelievable. It was an unbelievable time. And then we all went to lunch afterwards, and it was just great. So I told her the story of my little microfiber cloth, and she actually said, "Oh, I just found one more and she gave one to me so that I had one to look at and one to use. But I got this, and so did Emily, and so did Laura, and I think we're gonna have a BAD, a big ass deer, Sal. So I need to work on figuring out what fabric and fibers I want to use for that. But going to Needlework Press, going to Vicky's studio and to her home, we got to see a lot of the originals of the patterns that they sell at the attic. So another one that the three of us, and maybe Grace, I think maybe, did you buy this too? I'm not sure. Was Mary McAllister 1824. We saw this at Vicky's house. It was in one of the upstairs bedrooms, and me and Emily and Laura all just oohed and awed over that cow, which is amazing. And I also love these ships, and this border in person is like unreal. It's so beautiful. So hopefully that'll be maybe a future Sal as well. I also picked up Phoebe J. Mead. This is stitched on perforated paper, and I was just sitting there looking at this. The model was like right at the tables where we were sitting and stitching at the attic, so I was just looking at it and looking at it. I don't know, will I do it on the perforated paper? Maybe. We'll see. Laura was kind enough to go through the needlework press patterns that were at the shop and pull out ones that she thought that we should be aware of, and I did pick out one of those. This is Roses in July. We did see the original of this together, so I felt pretty special. While I was there, I was thinking about this idea of having a red sampler that I would stitch to commemorate this time with these wonderful ladies, and I'll show you that one in a minute, but I picked up two other options, and this one is Catherington 1882 by Needlework Press, and then I also picked up EB 1859. This is by Quaint Rose Needle Arts. And I ended up picking a different pattern for my red sampler, but I got this beautiful blue Gloriana in Midnight, and one of those will be that color. The pattern I ended up picking out for my red sampler is going to be AM 1918, and this is by Miss Flossy, who we met, and she was wonderful. Really sweet, not too big, 108 by 109. And I picked out this Classic Color Works Belle Soie and Tulip to stitch it in. Miss Flossy also had another chart available at the attic, and this is Madeleine Deleste. And this is very sweet. I'm not normally like a pastel person, but when I saw Laura had, I think all of the called for colors but one. I think they made one substitution in hers. And I was looking at the colors and I was like, oh, this matches my wallpaper upstairs in my craft room. So I decided I would pull the colors that match that wallpaper for this. And so here's the wallpaper. We got a lot of glare here. Here's the wallpaper, and here are the colors. So I think that will look really nice upstairs. Really pretty. A few more things. On Friday night, Jean came to stitch with us at the, is it Friday night or Saturday night? Friday night? Friday night. Stitch with us at the hotel. We were able to commandeer a small conference room there, and she was using these scissors by the Scissorist. Yes. These cute little scissors, and we all were like, ooh, what are those? So she had them ready for us when we went to the shop the next day, and they come in this little pouch. Nice, like, little curved blade. So sweet. Really nice. I picked up a couple Stacy Nash primitives. This is 4 and 20 Blackbird's pocket roll with strawberry emery. This Whaling Ship sewing tray and pin keep. I actually wouldn't do the ship, I would do this little anchor here, and then I would take this border and bring it around and just do that whale. Also, this big dog sewing couch. I picked up the Scarlet House pattern. Tanya from the Scarlet House joined us at Vicky's studio, and then when we went to Vicky's house, and then also for lunch that day, and she was a delight. This is Good Company. I love this. This was stitched on the wall and it was tiny. And it says, she lives on a hill overlooking the sea with only her dogs for good company. She doesn't need less, she doesn't need more than to hear the waves crash into the shore. And I love that, and I'm gonna make that me in my house right there. And then this pattern, Lisa and I were sitting there and we were both just like looking at it on the wall, the model on the wall, and it's so striking in person. And so Lisa went and found the pattern for us, and this is Catherine Maudsley, 1844, by the Drawn Thread. And this is like this was just a $10 pattern, and it's all in DMC, done in DMC, and this border in real life is amazing, beautiful. And then I felt like I couldn't leave the attic without getting, for me, a high count fabric, and this is some 45 count Legacy in Thai iced tea. So I did put it in the hoop the other night and do a little practice stitching. I think I need to I just need to pick something and do it on it. This is just a little piece to try. So I feel like that was a lot, probably because it is a lot. And that was all from the attic. And again, I want to thank everybody that was there for being so welcoming. You know, you guys didn't know me, but I felt like we all left knowing, like feeling like we'd known each other forever. So I just really, wow. Okay, so if that was not enough, Sunday after I got home was Spring Fling. It was a Spring Fling retreat. Again, like I said, it was hosted by Dees, Dees 20 Stitches, and Kari, Uncanny Kari. I was able to attend last year, and so I was excited to do it again this year. This is a very small retreat. I think there's about 30 people that go, so you have to be like quick with it to get your box and your spot. And it was great. It's very low key. Kari does like a little finishing tutorial. There's great conversation, questions, people are just sharing, and man, it was a perfect way to spend a Sunday afternoon. So I will share with you some of the items that were in the box. We all got this card, and this is the theme. These dragons. It says, may this design and notions give you both the strength to continue fighting and the time to find peace and rest this year. I love that. All important things. And these are the two patterns that were in the box. This is We Go On. Very cool. And this is We Still Go On. I think I saw somebody's already finished this one. This one's tiny. This one's 63 by 52. So can't wait to start that. We got the little stickers. We Go On. Little treasure map. We got some sweet pins. Scissors. I love scissors. That's great for me. These great We Go On thread keeps. A needle minder. Look how cool that is. That's beautiful. And then we also got the linen and the threads to stitch both of those patterns. These are all by Brenda Needle, and there's Stranger Things, which is this darker color, and Spiled Rotten, which is this more variegated color. And it's kind of hard to tell them apart here, but I loved how this was all braided up, and I didn't want to unbraid it because it was so cute. So we got that, and then the linen that they provided was tea and Teutons in a 36 count. very, very pretty. So that was a great time. Fingers crossed I can get in again next year. Be quick with it. So while we were in Arizona on Thursday night, I was sitting with across from Olivia B, and Laura was there, and Emily was next to me, and we were all talking about how wonderful Olivia's shop, Hillside Rookery, is. And she was describing kind of her process for kitting projects up. You can get NPI silk packs for different patterns that she sells in her shop, mostly Carriage House, Kathy Barrick, and Liz Matthews patterns. And she was just talking about all the steps that went into it, and just the amount of thought and care that she puts into her products and what she's selling, down to every single detail. And I just knew, I want to support her. She's an amazing human being, and you want to support your friends, right? So I just kept thinking about it, and when I got home I did place a little order with her. She sent along this beautiful card, and I got 2 of her silk packs and a couple other things. I picked up this chart, Enchanted, and she offers both of the packs, so you can do it in the light fabric or the dark fabric, and I got the light fabric. And so this little tag, and it came in this little bag, and in here are the silks that you need for that. Just one. So for this one, she did 3 skeins of the NPI, and then you only need a little tiny bit of this one. So she just gives you a little tiny bit. That way you're not paying for a whole skein of silk when this is the amount that you need. Like that's amazing. I want to start this right now. I pulled this piece of 40 count Dead Sea Scrolls, this little piece I have, and I think I'm going to stitch this on that. I also got another one of her floss packs. This is for the Liz Matthews pattern Poppy. I think I already have the pattern, but I got the Poppy and Coral floss pack, so you can see it's just enough. It's all you need. Sweet. And I know she's looking to expand that. I think I saw on Instagram that she put in some new patterns, and man, I might have to unfollow you, Olivia. No, I'm just joking. This came in that cute little bag. And some of the other patterns that I grabbed from her was this Tabby Cat sampler by the City Stitcher. Primitive Peacock sampler, also by the City Stitcher. Look at that peacock doing the splits. How funny. Hester Van Dorn, oops, by Carriage House. This reminds me a lot of my Aunt Omen, so I think they will go nicely together. And then also I picked up Hornbook Revisited. Now, she's trying to mastermind a stitch along with me and Emily C. And so as a little nudge in that direction, she sent this as a gift. This is Molly. I'm sorry, I know that you can hear the barking, but I'm almost done. I'm gonna try to go super quick and wrap it up here. I finished my Chesapeake Bay Treasures Chesapeake Bay Treasures Blue Heron by Ardith Design. So I went and I got the last 2 that she has in the series, and she sent along a bunch of stickers. Wait, you gotta look at this. Look how stinking cute. And those are number 3, and this is the Island Ponies, and number 5, which is Seahorses. So I got those from Amanda May, who is a real treasure herself. And a few things off of Stash Unloading. I got Birds of a Feather French Lessons. Allie of Misfit Stitches did this one, and I became immediately obsessed with them and hunted this one down. I got this little piece of 40 count oak by Northumberland House Samplers. This is just a little piece. I wanted to check it out and try. So I got that. I got this Ginger and Friends collection series. This is Ginger. It says cross stitch them, stuff them. I'm not sure. This is by the Cross Stitcher magazine. And it's, I like that little stuffed cat there. He's weird. I like him. By Bent Creek, I got this pattern called Twinkle Twinkle. And then lastly, I kept seeing this come up and I wasn't gonna get it, and then I just couldn't stop thinking about it, and so I did. And this is Heidi Poet Originals. I'm not sure what, I guess these are all different. It came with all of the patterns. I just really love that raccoon a lot. Okay, so I'm not sure how long this video is because I have started and stopped it and had breaks and who knows what else. So if you stuck with me this long, thank you so much. I'm overdue for a 4-year anniversary giveaway, so I need to be thinking about that. There just wasn't time in March for me to get myself together to do that. But yeah, I hope everybody has been well, and I love you all, and thank you, and goodbye.